the Director of the Rescue 100 program with the Mississippi Department of Child Protection Services. Our goal is to recruit, train, and support foster families across the state of Mississippi through engaging the church community. And today I have the pleasure of sitting down with foster parent Jodie Felton out of Cleveland, Mississippi. Thank you so much for letting us talk with you today.
Thank you for the invite.
So I hear that you've been doing this for quite a while. So if you wouldn't mind, tell me how long you've been fostering and then how you got started into it.
I've been fostering for 30 plus years. I was working with one of my friends who worked with a community group, and she had to go out into the rural area to deliver Thanksgiving dinner. And we discovered the family and the little children were just in awe just to see us and the clothes we had on, and they kind of warmed our hearts, and it started there. Little did I know this little fellow would be coming into care. Something happened, and he came into care, and he went into a home in Sunflower County, and he kept telling them that he had another mama. And it was because we had gone, and picked him up on weekends, brought him home, just did the motherly kind of thing with him, took him to church. And that was exciting to him. And he just kind of warmed my heart. One day, I worked in the courts in the Bolivar County Circuit Clerk's office. So one of my tasks was to attend youth court. And we were there late one evening, and in come this little fellow. And he looked up and he see me. He said, "Mama, Mama." And everybody looked. And I'm looking because everybody know my children are teenagers, and about one is in college, the other one's about to graduate. And he said, "I told y'all I had another mama." And up in my lap he went, and everybody go, "Miss Felton, you know this young man?" I said, "Yeah." So that was the beginning of my love, my service, my ministry for caring for children.
So over the 30 years, do you have any idea of how many children you've had come in your home?
The last count I counted was 300 plus, and that's to include those who may have stayed there just for a week,
right,
or who stayed there for a month.
It's also my understanding that you primarily foster teenagers, which is rare. Tell me why teenagers?
While sitting in the courtroom, I saw where a lot of young people were being lost. By the time a child gets to be 13, they're kind of like trying to figure themselves out. They want to be an adult over here, and over here they want to be mom and daddy's little girl or little boy. And that was my niche. And sitting there in the youth court, I saw a lot. And I decided, maybe one day I'll be able to share life with them. And I went into the youth court director's office, and he had a picture on his wall. And it was Highway 49, and it had a fork.
Mm-hmm.
And on one side, it was life, and on the other side, it was prison. That if I can provide for you the stability, the love that's needed and necessary, perhaps you'll go to the right and be better in life, rather than going to the left and end up on 49, Mississippi Department of Correction.
Working in the court system, I'm sure you're aware that the statistics for kids who don't find somebody who's going to share their journey with them end up incarcerated or homeless or in human trafficking. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on for our kids who don't find that someone to love them unconditionally. And I like how you said to share their story with them. And that we're often every week getting emails and telephone calls for kids in the foster care system who are needing a foster parent. Mm-hmm. And the overwhelming majority of those kids are 13 and older. So if somebody is watching and they're a little bit hesitant about going ahead and picking up the phone and taking this step, what advice would you give to them?
I would say to them, give it a try. Be that lifeline that a person needs. To me, foster care is my ministry. My role is to be able to strengthen the child, help the child develop value within themselves, and show them this may be where you start, but this doesn't have to be where you finish.
Have you had any experiences since working with teenagers, unexpected, that either helped you grow or develop as a foster parent?
One of the most profound things that I learned as a foster parent was how to foster the LGBTQ. Because when they first came in my home, I didn't know this. Mm-hmm. And once I found out, I go, oh my goodness, I'm going to be persecuted. I'm going to be talked about. And I prayed about it, and I heard they deserve to be loved too. Mm-hmm. And they taught me more about life. In order to help your children to develop, you have to have an ear to hear all your children. You have to be able to speak their language. You have to know the music they're listening to. Being a resource parent has been a great resource for me, because I can pretty much, now, and I tell them, I said my background early child education, but I can pretty much look at a child and can tell what their experiences are or have been.
I bet after 30 years you've probably seen it all, haven't you?
I don't think it's much that I've missed. And to me, Sabrina, it doesn't matter if the child's black, Hispanic, white, biracial, to the left, to the right, as the young folks say, up or down. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter. It's about what can I pour into this child's life? How can I help this child? Most of my children think I'm strict, and I am. To a point, I'm strict. I am. I spoil them too. I do. But this one child who couldn't wait to get out of my home, she wanted out of my home so bad. She went home to her mom, and for her very first Thanksgiving dinner, who did she call? So it meant a lot to me. And every week she calls me to tell me, I love you.
Oh.
Thank
if
you.
That's not affirmation of what you're doing, I don't know what is.
And always remember, you will have what we call a honeymoon stage. That's where everything is going good. The child is eager to please you. You all are getting along very well. But then there comes a moment of a challenge. But you have to remember in your heart of hearts that why you're doing what you're doing. Mm-hmm. So when that part comes and the iffy part comes, don't kick the child out.
I often say, and you'll tell me if you agree with this or not, that when we start seeing those really hard behaviors, it's oftentimes more of the child asking, hey, can I show you the hardest parts of me, the ugliest parts of me, and are you still going to be there?
Exactly. They would do that, and sometimes I like to call it my test and trial. Can you handle me at this level? You loved me and you were willing to accept me when I showed you the kind part. But when I miss curfew, when I let that ugly word come out of my mouth, when I slam the door and I tell you, you're not my mom, can you handle that? That shows the true love in you. Because the child is trying to see, does she really love me? Is she really who she says she is? Will she accept me even with my flaws and my scars? If I unpack my bag and let her see what's in my bag, is she still going to be there for me? She's still going to love me through this. And I would say to always tell your children that. Always remind them, hey, I love you. I'm a hugger. So my children know that you come in there and Jodie going to hug you. And I ask some of them because, you can kind of read the body language. And until you get comfortable, you don't touch. Right. And I'll ask you, do you mind if I hug you? I enjoy what I do. I turned 65 Saturday. And everybody going, well, all my coworkers, Miss Jodie, you need to stop. You need to learn to live life. I am living life. Mm-hmm. I'm doing what makes me happy. And I enjoy it.
Well, thank you so much for what you're doing for our kiddos, and then also for just sitting down and sharing your story with me today. If you have any questions, or if you've ever thought about becoming a foster parent yourself, if you'll reach out to Rescue 100, we would be glad to help you along that journey. Thank you so much, Ms.
Thank
Jodie.
you, Sabrina, for having me.